Let me just say that if you didn't already consider Mob Psycho 100 one of the best damn anime we've received in so long, going all the way back to when Season 1 dropped, you're kidding yourself if you're still saying that after this wild, trippy-ass episode, because in less than 8 minutes, they casually introduce what should be an alien invasion to then getting sucked up to their mothership, having a party, and then my boy gets left behind and builds himself an alien harem, becomes essentially their god. You could maybe argue hero is the better term, but I mean, literally his face is plastered all over that alien homeworld. And, the fact that it more or less confirms that those aliens had their way with him. I mean, I don't think the little kiss marks all over and, waking up with them in his bed was just they kissed him. I think, he left his DNA on that planet before casually being dropped off and forgetting everything that happened. The fact that in less than 8 minutes, it did all of that with an even more wacky and trippy art style shift that they did. This slice of life episode didn't need to go as hard as it did, but it did so because Mob Psycho's fantastic. Literally 3/4 of this episode was simply just them bonding, figuring out that they just like being with each other, even if aliens aren't actually going to come down, because basically the book that they're reading from, the chant that they're doing with the little prayer ritual, literally comes from a fraud and a fake, and then casually aliens actually show up. I'm just sitting here watching this saying, you know what? This isn't, I would classify, the best overall episode. I think those go to Dimple's moments, Reagan's moment from season 2. There's key character episodes that I think are the absolute peak of Mob Psycho. But if there is one episode that I think I will never forget about, if I never rewatch this show, which, spoilers, I'm obviously going to rewatch Mob Psycho, who the hell wouldn't? You'd be crazy not to after the quality. But just saying, this alien episode is now on the top of my mind of what I'll think about when thinking about Mob Psycho, because as a whole, did we need aliens in this episode? Did we need to see it? No. But it led to such a wild-ass adventure that no other anime would really touch upon, because who the hell casually introduces aliens, 4 to 5 episodes out from the ending of the show? Only Mob Psycho 100, and I love how casual everyone but Reagan kind of accepted it. Reagan was the one dude being maybe we shouldn't get on the alien ship, we don't know what's gonna happen. And the fact that, literally just the partying, the wholesome energy, and the fact that you literally left my boy behind, and I thought it was going to actually be a little worse, but then it turned out that he was God there. And the fact that, their big, horrible threat was, the size of a little puppy, and defeating that made him even more of a hero was just, it was amazing, man. And just the fact that all throughout this episode, something felt off visually. And I say off visually in a good way, that it was just a different style than what we're used to. It just felt like a better produced slice of life episode than you're typically used to, and in a lot of ways, it reminded me of Sunny Boy. If anyone's ever watched the anime Sunny Boy, it came out fairly recently. It had a very unique style to it, and there's a lot of shots, from some wider shots with the way they would, lack a detail on the face, a lot of the character designs and movements. It just had this very surreal look to it that very much gave me a Sunny Boy vibe. And then once the alien stuff kicked off and they did the kind of widescreen filter as the credits were playing, that's when shit just went completely balls to the wall. As far as I know, I think the person responsible for this episode, or at least the trippiest part of this episode, worked on some key action moments in Mob Psycho, and it's just kind of surreal to think about the fact that someone who's responsible for some of the craziest action we see in this show is now responsible for the craziest slice of life moment that the show has seen to date, and that's pretty fantastic. And I wanted to get this video out yesterday, but I was busy. I'm a busy boy these days, so I had to leave it to obviously today, a day after it aired. And honestly, I am so glad I did, because you know what, this can now just be on the top of my mind. I don't have it with a couple other videos. I'm just doing this video in Occupant Maid War today, and I can just bask more into this and rewatch it. And just this episode is just, it's peak Mob Psycho in a different way. There's 2 different versions of Mob Psycho that I consider peak. It's the character moments, and then there's obviously the what is this moment, and that's where this one falls, but I wouldn't change it for a thing. And I love the fact that when they're leaving the alien ship there, they're all giving presents. And, there's a watch, there's a notebook, Reagan ends up giving his shirt because that's all he has. Mob shows him basically the alien ET finger because that's all he can do. And then I love the fact that, because when you think of it, right, so they all end up leaving after more or less giving a gift. And I love the fact that my boy basically was the gift himself because he's just like smothered by aliens. And honestly, man, I thought we were about to see something far worse just based on his like deadpan, almost like, holy shit, he's horrified about what's happening. And the fact that they only realized they left him until afterwards is just, this show is absolutely wild. But I really liked what they did with the production of this episode, right? Because it's a very surreal episode prior to that. And I think the episodes that really nail their what the hell moments are the ones that build into it very subtly, but in hindsight, you could have saw it coming a mile away if you just picked up on it sooner. I had no idea aliens were going to be in this episode. I didn't look at the internet much yesterday after I was done my videos, so going into this episode, it just felt like there was, I wouldn't really say out-of-worldly, but just something that felt disorienting, as if there was going to be something, but I was just kind of chalking it up to, well, it's, it's them kind of bonding and rekindling friendships, their passion, even if they know it won't go anywhere, at least they're passionate about something, and then the alien stuff hits, and you think, okay, that's why they were going so almost fishbowl experience. But then, once they leave the ship, it gets even more wild, and I think the production did such a good job with the narrative that this is one of those types of episodes that, if this actually came from the manga and this was in the manga, this is how you amplify source material, because this is what the production did so well. And Mob, just comparing where Mob was in season 1, I think he would have had a bit of a different reaction, but, bless his heart, he's grown up so much, and Reagan, I also like just some of his internal thoughts, even if some people can recognize that the man is a chronic liar, and which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, usually I'd say it's a shame that a show like Mob Psycho 100 is almost over, but I can't say that right now, because we've had 3 seasons of a quality show that has found new ways to reinvent itself as seen by here, or just give characters their send-off that they deserve, like Dimple this season. Reagan, I mean, he felt like a complete character last season to me, and seeing him now as an actual father figure to my boy Mob, it just brings a grin to your face, and I'm really excited to see where the final hurrah will go with this show, and where we'll leave off Mob Psycho 100, because at this point, there's nothing anyone could tell me that would convince me that I won't leave this show saying all 3 seasons are 10 out of 10. I really think it's proved itself at that point, but of course, only time will tell, and sure, maybe things could drop the ball, but based on the hype I've heard about this last arc, I highly doubt it, and I'm going to place my life savings on Mob ending up on a bang, especially if they can casually give us an alien invasion that was way more wholesome than I think I was ever expecting. So yeah, thoughts and feelings yourself down below. What did you think of, in my opinion, one of the trippiest anime episodes I think I've ever seen, with Sunny Boy production style that absolutely hit I just love that style in general, and I don't see it a lot, so Mob Psycho doing it, it brought a grin to my face. But thoughts yourself down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. You can also consider supporting the Patreon. I got a bunch of live reaction series going on over there. You can also get video shoutouts, early access on stuff like Q&As, a bunch of fun little perks, so check that out if you're interested. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.